He says, Geno always has great physical tools. It was more, was he a leader and mature enough? Looks like he has taken that step. Now I wonder how much John loves Hal at his cost versus extending Geno. It's going to be an interesting situation for John to find himself in to next year. Let's walk it through the process to your point on that, Nolan. Geno goes out this year, throws for 4,600 yards, 36 touchdowns. He's put himself in a position to get a contract extension. But what does John want to do at that point? He has Hal on the hook for a $1 million salary for the next year. He can get out from under the Geno deal and save a lot of money on next year's cap, if on top of the money that you save by not spending on a contract extension. So where does that end up putting him as far as where he stands with it? And I think that that's the part I can't answer with a Nolan necessarily. Because with John, I've always come back to the blueprint. The blueprint being, when I walked in here as a first-time general manager and we went to back-to-back Super Bowls and we won one of them, how can I replicate that? How can I try to maybe find some secret sauce within what we did there and duplicate it here now in the modern era? And part of that secret sauce back 10 years ago was that you had a quarterback that was taking up less than 1% of your cap when you went and won a Super Bowl. So that would make you think, well, the Howell option is the one that's going to stand out on this one. That's going to be the one that ends up winning out. It may. Some of this also comes down to what is Geno going to then ask for at that point? He's showing willingness once to take a discounted deal. Would he show a willingness again to take another discounted deal? And then would that then affect John to feel like, I got a guy 4,600 yards who's going to give me this kind of season, and he's going to be paid like the 13th highest paid, 14th highest paid quarterback in the sport. The bang for the buck's actually pretty good here, even with his age. I still got Hal for another year here in the background, so I got a year to figure out the quarterback of the future now if I go that route. Hard to predict how this could kind of break down with that, Nolan, because there's those three factors that come in play. There's the Geno has the great year, the Hal coming in, the fact that if Geno comes back around and says, I'll take a discount, all that kind of swirls around into what is the thing that determines that then in those factors. I think Nolan, if he came out and had a 4,600 yard year and then came back and said, give me a Jared Goff deal, I think he'd make it very easy for John Schneider at that point. I don't know if there would be a Jared Goff deal available for him at that point either, because there's a little bit of an age difference between Jared Goff and Geno Smith. So I don't think he could call upon asking for that. But I think if he does go out and say, I want all the money at that point, it pushes John's hands pretty quickly at that point to go, we're not going to necessarily sign up for that. But yeah, a lot of questions. How much does he like Hal? How much does he like Geno? Up to what cost? What would it take from Geno as far as a season to win John over if he's not won over right now, or if he's quasi won over? I like him, but if it's going to save money, I go cheaper at the position, I will. Or verse, he's been really doing well the past couple of years. Wait till you see this year, and we've really got him something to work with. And some people will say, well, Seattle was dangling Geno at the draft. So how much could he be really into him? The thing that I say with that is that was less to do about them dangling Geno in the draft and more about, we know there's some quarterback hungry teams out here to the point that there's going to be 6 quarterbacks taken in this first round. Is there maybe one of these quarterback teams that will give us that treasure chest for Geno that no one would think that we'd be able to get because of the scarcity of the position, and that maybe they don't buy into the quarterbacks in this draft? It didn't go down, but I can understand why you would dangle a quarterback that's not necessarily locked into the long term just to see what could be out there. Wasn't like they were giving him away at that point. A lot of questions there with that, Nolan. A lot of unanswered questions on that'll be really interesting to see, and we'll learn a lot about John's strategy here. As we've had to kind of wait a couple of years of what is his exact strategy with the quarterback position, what he intends to do there. We've gotten a little bit of an idea, but it's also felt a little bit of times like he's kind of biding his time, waiting there in the shadows, smoking a cigarette. You can only see his eyes when he takes a drag off the cigarette, and his eyes light up, and he's just waiting. There's a pile of butts at the ground at his feet.